In today's video, I'm going to talk about the dangers of astral projection. I made a video a few months ago about how to astral project, and at the time of filming it, I had like 100 subscribers or something. It got quite a bit of traction. If you've watched that video, you'll know I spent about 20 minutes caveating the whole thing and being like, but you should do this, or you shouldn't do this, or this is the reason why you should go through the process that I'm teaching you. I did, I think, a reasonable job at kind of giving you the reasons why you need a good foundation before you do something like astral projecting. What the video was really about, more so than astral projection, was actually having profound experiences. The video was more about using this method of meditation in order to access higher planes, and the astral plane is the first plane beyond our physical plane, so it made sense to title it How to Astral Project, but really it was about going beyond astral projection. And I put that on the title, but most people just were talking in the comments in terms of astral projection. But there are many planes beyond the astral plane, and we all have access to all of those planes. There's a reason why specifically it's not always a good idea to aspire to astral project, and I want to outline the dangers of it in this video and give you alternatives and my guidance really as to what I believe we should do. A lot of you will know that I had a really profound experience that lasted for about a week, where using that method that I put in that video actually, where I was in totally different planes, went way beyond the astral plane and was in totally different planes, and the planes were invisible. It was a very weird experience that's very hard for me to explain, because I feel like you get to a certain point where you move beyond the ability to use human words to articulate something that is beyond, the human experience. I've heard people talking about this in books and I didn't really understand it. And after having that experience and trying to tell people about it, I suddenly realized what they meant. It's too hard to explain. It's like trying to explain to someone what a flower smells like when they haven't got a sense of smell. It's just impossible. You couldn't do it. So I had this amazing experience basically, and I was really pushing to try and have some experience because I'd been teaching meditation and practicing meditation for a very long time, and I didn't feel like I had the personal experience to give me certainty on a lot of things. So I wanted more certainty, and I went on a retreat and I had an amazing experience over about a week where I was having, accessing different planes and doing all of this stuff, and then I made that video about it. But when I was aspiring to have these experiences, I was doing it because I knew that it was going to help me for teaching, but also it was a stepping stone. It was me experiencing myself at a different level in order to get to the final goal, which I didn't get to talk about in that video. We have to remember that if we're on a spiritual path, there is a goal to this spiritual path. There is a destination, for me at least, and this might not resonate with everyone. Everyone, I guess, has their own definition of what the goal of this work is, but my definition of this, the goal behind this work, is going from human consciousness back to divine consciousness, back to the source from which we have came from. You could call that an intelligent energy source. You could call it the divine, God. I mean the same thing when I say intelligent energy source. And I intimately know that I am that energy source, and you are, and everything else is. But I don't know myself as that yet. I'm not omnipotent, I'm not omniscient, I'm not omnipresent, which basically means I'm not all-knowing, I'm not all-powerful, and I'm not everywhere at once. So I know that I'm not experiencing myself at that level yet. And that's the goal really, is to get back to experiencing myself and ourselves at that level. So in order to do that, we use things like meditation. And that is a tool that we use to go from human consciousness into higher and higher levels of consciousness. Astral projection is very, very low down in terms of what we can achieve as human beings. And it seems like a really big experience because it's like an out-of-body experience and all of this. But in terms of where we can go and what we have access to, that is very low down. That's the first level in terms of depth, in terms of planes that we can access. That's the first one. So if you're only aspiring to astral project, or if your main aspiration is to astral project, you're limiting yourself. You're putting a regulator on your potential. It would be like going to school in kindergarten or primary school, depending on where you live, and only aspiring to get to secondary school. That's where you're putting all of your effort and energy to. Whereas if you're at primary school and in the back of your mind you've got an aspiration to finish school one day and go to university and become a professor, then you're opening your potential up. You're giving yourself a goal which feels far away, but you can just take these little steps and eventually in time you'll get there. But if your only goal is to get to secondary school, you're putting a cap on where you can get to. And this is the problem with, in my opinion at least, with just having aspirations for astral projection. You're capping yourself. And the other thing is that you're putting an attachment on something. You're attaching yourself to an experience that isn't the total reality, isn't the total truth. That is only going to bring about some level of suffering, because like anything, if we attach ourselves to something that is not permanent, then we suffer when we lose that thing. Whereas if we attach ourselves to the higher energy source or the divine, that is infinite, that is forever lasting, that is the only real truth in our reality. And so attaching yourself to that is the only thing that we should attach ourselves to, because that thing never changes. That thing is the only reality. It's the only thing that's real in our existence. So I always attach myself and aspire to get to and know that truth, to know that reality, to know myself as that reality. And if that means that I have an astral projection on the way, then that's fine, that's part of my experience, but I don't aspire just to astral project. So that's the first thing, is that it can cap where you're going to, and it gives you some attachment to something that isn't the total truth yet, which inevitably is likely to lead to some amount of suffering. My advice with that is really aspire for higher. You can achieve whatever you want. You can achieve divine realization, total self-realization, which is when you let go totally of this body consciousness and you experience yourself at the ultimate level of consciousness again. You return to that higher energy source. And for me, that is the ultimate goal. That is the goal of all of this work. So for me, aspiring for any other little experience around that is limiting myself. The second point is that it can become a bit of an ego trap. If you've not yet built up the foundations, which I spoke about on the last video, if you've not built up this foundation of work, if you've not got your physical self in alignment, if you've not able yet to manage how much you eat, how much you drink, how much you sleep, how you gossip about people, all of the things within this physical plane, if you've not got this under control yet, why are you aspiring to planes which are infinitely more powerful, which take a hell of a lot more energy to actually get to? You are potentially putting yourself in great danger, because there is a lot of energy required to get to these places, and that energy has to come through an aligned vessel, which is you. You need to be aligned. If you're full of leaks, if you're not able to manage this plane yet, and that is through the very basic mundane things of how much you eat and what you're consuming, and having this physical life under control, having it under some level of balance and harmony. If you've not got to that point yet, aspiring for higher without doing that, without it being through the medium of connecting to the divine, so that you know that whatever experiences you come your way have been given to you and they're correct for you. But if you, through your own personal individual consciousness, decide that you want to have a astral projection experience, that might not be right for you yet. And because the human mind is so powerful, you could make that happen. You could astral project when you're potentially not actually ready for it. And I'm not here to say whether you are or not. I'm just saying that you risk not being ready for that experience and getting it. And so again, the advice comes back from me to you, that if you connect to the, I keep saying the high energy source and it feels really weird, I'm going to call it the divine because it's easier. If you connect to the divine and say, please guide me, please show me where I need to work, please help me get better at managing this plane, please take me to you in a way that is safe, in a way that I'm able to manage the experiences that come my way. If you communicate with that higher consciousness in that manner, you know that whatever experiences come your way are the experiences that you needed to have. They're not experiences that our small little consciousness has decided it wants, which is, generally speaking, astral projection and things like that. If we're aspiring for that, that is our little puny consciousness that has decided it. Whereas if you put the power in the absolute, in the divine, and say, I don't know actually what is right for me, but please can you take me? Please can you show me what is right for me? Please can you allow me to have an experience that is appropriate for me at this time? And I will say these things that I'm saying along these lines are things that I would say in a meditation, before I meditate. Sometimes whilst I'm meditating, I might repeat this and then get back to the meditation. But we should be aspiring, in my opinion anyway, We should be aspiring to reach the final destination. And if we want an experience to validate our progress or to validate the things that we believe in, you could ask that source to show you in a way that is appropriate for you now. And that might be astral projection. That's the thing. It might be that, okay, you sit down to meditate one day and you astral project, and that's right for you. That's correct for you. But to manufacture it out of your own desire is very dangerous. My warning really is to be aware of that and actually to ask for the experience that is correct for you rather than manufacturing an experience that you think is right for you. If connecting to the divine or having some kind of belief in a higher energy source isn't what you believe in, if it's not what you resonate with, then simply do a meditation method that you know to be safe. From my point of view as a meditation teacher, simple meditations such as following the breath, doing simple mantras in a meditation are safe ways of progressing. So they're safe ways of expanding your consciousness. You will improve gradually at a safe manner. And these experiences will likely come to you when you are ready anyway. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope this video has been really helpful for you. Please do like and comment if you have any questions about it. But failing that, I will see you on the next video. Thanks so much.